So my name is Erin McBride, Africa. I teach on numerous campuses. I'm technically on the faculty at 3 different colleges. So depending on how many of them I have classes from at any given semester, I could have anywhere from 2 to 5 jobs. So if I have to drop off my kids, it's pretty hard to make this work. So I would have to drop them off at a before school care program, and then they'd have to go eat their breakfast at school. And they get free breakfast too, because my income is low enough to qualify for that. And it's just, I miss out on that morning time with them. But I can't say no to any classes if they're offered to me, if I can work it in the schedule. Just can't. I think this is the best job I've ever had. I feel motivated every day. I love the work I'm doing. I love the work I'm doing with my students. The interactions, the intellectual challenge, the constant opportunity to reflect and grow along with the teaching is amazing. I feel like it's the kind of work that I have been growing my whole life in order to be able to do. But I definitely don't feel like I am valued for that by the administration. Just, I don't know.
Unfortunately, many of our adjuncts are at their breaking point. There's a sense of desperation amongst the adjunct faculty now that I've never seen in any other job where I've worked. Morale is at the lowest point I've seen since being here at the college. The administration here is some of the highest paid, not only in the state of California, but in the country. Only in the area of the adjuncts are we so underpaid. We're ranked 55 out of 72 colleges in the state of California, and as I mentioned earlier, we're 13th out of 14th in the region. So I hope you'll take all this into consideration as you're deciding on your budget priorities this spring. Thank you for your time today.
I'm Mercedes McDonald. I'm in the art department at College of the Canyons. My feeling about all of this, and this is the longest I've ever taught at any school. I'm almost here, I'll be here 20 years. And, I'm really invested in the community. Students are great. I feel really discouraged about the inequity and the lack of fairness in our pay scale. So it's really discouraging that I'm not looked at in the same way a full-time faculty or staff member is looked at. I don't think the students look at me any differently. They like my classes and they get a lot out of them, but that's one thing I think about a lot.
I have been teaching on the community college level since 1988, more than 3 decades now. I love what I do. I have always loved what I do. And I am excited every single day when I get up in the morning to teach my students. Financially, I do my best, of course, to manage my personal budget and manage my expenses. But I can tell you that the salaries that we are paid are, shall we say, to put it politely, modest salaries. And so I have to be very careful. Often when I arrive at work after a drive of perhaps an hour or an hour and a half, I'm eager to have a cup of coffee, maybe a second cup of coffee in the morning before I start my teaching. I will often think twice before purchasing a cup of coffee, wondering whether or not I really want to fit that into my budget. Even if it's just a 75-cent senior coffee at McDonald's, sometimes I'll ask myself, do I really need it, or can I go without it today? I can save a little money here, there. I'm always thinking about this, and it does cause a certain amount of anxiety. I am an ex-Army officer. I believe in doing my duty. I believe in fulfilling the obligations of my work and going the extra mile as well. But I do hope that they can be fully aware of the difficult circumstances that many adjunct faculty face. And as this college has more adjunct faculty than full-time faculty, I hope they do realize the critical role that the adjunct faculty play in the success of this campus.
I'm one of about 1,300 eligible adjuncts in the adjunct faculty pool, 680 of which teach each semester. Adjuncts make up about 76% of the faculty here at College of the Canyons, which is a much higher percentage than what you find at most community colleges throughout the state of California. A full-time faculty member on average earns 75 to 80, but there are many full-time faculty members that earn between 150 to 180,000 a year. Meanwhile, the average adjunct faculty member earns about $36,000 a year for teaching the equivalent of a full-time load. The disparity between the adjunct faculty members and the administration is even worse. The chancellor here at College of the Canyons earns more than $400,000 a year, and we had more than 15 administrators who earn anywhere from $175,000 to $250,000 a year. And this disparity between the administration salaries and the adjunct faculty salaries has grown more and more each year. As the administrative salaries have increased, the number of adjuncts teaching classes has also increased. And while the wages for administrative personnel continue to skyrocket, the wages for the adjunct faculty have stagnated. The amount of money that we're fighting over is insignificant when compared to the overall budget for the college. It's about a $114 million budget here at College of the Canyons. And the amount of money we're asking for is about 1% of that. 1%. That's all that it costs to provide the total salaries for all the adjunct faculty here at College of the Canyons. And when we ask for an increase on that 1%, and we say we want a 10% increase, we're talking about less than $500,000. So $500,000 is what we're arguing here over in a school that has a $114 million budget.
You know, both my parents are immigrants, and they worked really hard for everything that they provided us here in the U.S. And one thing that I remember growing up a lot was them telling me that once you've had the opportunity and the privilege to be educated, it's kind of almost like your duty to sort of help others, because not everyone gets the privilege to do that. So I think that idea itself is what pushes me to teach. And to be honest, myself and other adjuncts that are probably in similar situations as my own do it because they really, really do love what they do, you know. It's sort of like a calling. Teaching is a calling, right? It's not, you know, one day you don't wake up and just like, oh, let me be a teacher. You know, it definitely is a calling. And you have to be passionate about it. So I truly believe that the adjuncts that stay in this field, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I mean, there's some that have been here for a really long time. They stay because they're really passionate about what they do and they love educating others. And I think that's where I'm at, as much as it does suck. I think partly I wish I would have chosen something else to do. Mostly because I feel like there's no like light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. It doesn't matter. People don't retire. There's never enough positions. And I could teach, you know, as much as I want to teach, but that doesn't mean that I'll ever get a full-time or a tenure track or anything like that. There's good things about it. Yeah, there's great things. You get to meet a lot of great people. The students are great, you know, and you really make an impact in their lives sometimes. But on the other side, it's sort of kind of hard to, you know, just hold your head up and sort of have pride in what you do when others kind of don't see it that way, right? So, I don't know. It's a give and take.
Through these videos, through hearing the stories of the adjuncts here at College of the Canyons, that will shed a light on this, and that the Board of Trustees and the voters in the community will say enough is enough. It's time to give back to those instructors, give back to those individuals who spend the time with our students, and ensure that we have the best possible adjunct in front of that classroom, someone who's not constantly having to worry about paying their bills or how they're going to afford health care, or worrying about the next 2.5 hours they're going to have to spend on the expressway before they get home to grade papers.